WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. The news starts now.
Is in. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. A federal judge in the Mar-a-Lago documents case has decided that the case against former President Trump will move ahead.
Throughout the 4 hours in court today, there was some real skepticism on the part of this judge. She said dismissing this case might be premature. She also said it might be better left to a jury. Throughout the case today, Trump's attorneys tried to make the argument that Trump is being selectively prosecuted, that he did nothing other than presidents all the way back to George Washington and hanging on to documents. The prosecution said he hung on to classified military documents that were not his property, that he knew he was doing wrong.
Fox's Steve Harrigan in Fort Pierce, Florida. In Trump's New York hush money case, prosecutors say they're open to delaying the start of the trial for up to 30 days. Jury selection is set to begin March 25th. Political turmoil and violence in Haiti as Caribbean officials claim there's a plan to create a transitional presidential council. Haiti's current prime minister has pledged to resign once that council's created.
As U.S. Marines from an anti-terrorist unit land in Port-au-Prince, the Pentagon says they aren't there to help Americans escape either. Haiti's most notorious gang leaders, including Jimmy Barbecue Cherizier, a former police officer, are leading the charge. They're now in control of the city, having shuttered government buildings, roads, and the airport. State officials say policies are in place to ensure U.S. aid does not get diverted to any gang leaders. The Biden administration may not conduct rescue operations, but today Florida's Division of Emergency Management launched a portal of their own to help Floridians stranded in Haiti.
Fox's Jillian Turner at the State Department. The State Department says it's been warning Americans to not travel to Haiti for the past 4 years. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer calling on Israel to hold new elections, saying Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is an obstacle to peace. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
They're coming together. I'm Sasha Nixon. Here's what's trending this hour. Wayne Township's Emergency Medical Services Division will officially join Indianapolis Emergency Medical Services Sunday morning. So if you live in Wayne Township, you may be wondering what this means for you. Essentially, you should still have access to the first responders, as the staff members and ambulances will not be moving. Responders will just work for the larger IEMS collective instead of the township. But speaking of health, an inmate at the Marion County Jail died Thursday. Donnie Burgess reports.
Jail staff started a contraband sweep around 9:30 Thursday morning. When they got to Magic Dooms, he apparently grabbed some unknown substance from his pants and swallowed it. Jail staff and deputies tried to get whatever he swallowed out of his mouth, but Dooms quickly fell unconscious. He later died at the hospital. Dooms has been through the jail system 11 times since 2009 and was being held on several different charges. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
If you gave anything to Giving Machines in Indianapolis a couple of months ago, your money benefited several organizations, like Gleaners Food Bank.
Most of all, we want to thank the people of the city of Indianapolis and environs. I mean, the outpouring for this has been tremendous, and a lot of people around the world will be better off for it.
That's Gleaners Food Bank CEO Fred Glass. More than $250,000 were donated in Indianapolis. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. Now here's the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
This evening, rainfall could be pretty heavy locally in some spots under the heaviest of the storms, some of which could become severe, so be cautious moving into tonight. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Junior Arsutis for 93 WIBC.
Greetings from R&R Agency, your Indiana health insurance pros, and a sincere thank you to our loyal customers for helping make us national sales leaders for the 7th year in a row. We continue to save our new clients 30 to 40% when compared to their current ACA, short-term, COBRA, or small group programs. Breaking news. On July the 7th, President Biden signed an executive order outlawing short-term health plans. If you're on a short-term plan or just unhappy with your present coverage, call Terry or Ron at 317-563-0868 or go to rragency.org. That's 317-563-0868 or rragency.org. If you don't call us, we can't help you. Our coverages are guaranteed to age 65 with zero deductible and zero copay options, all on the largest network in the country. Give us a call. What the heck you got to lose? As always, God bless America, or at least what's left of her.
Waiting on a tax return? Hopefully it ends up in your hands. Fraudulent tax returns due to identity theft increased by 30% in 2023. If you're in a bind this tax season, LifeLock can help. Our U.S.-based restoration specialists are experts dedicated to helping solve your identity theft issues. And all LifeLock plans are backed by the $1 Million Protection Package. So we'll reimburse you up to the limits of your plan if you lose money due to identity theft. Help protect your information this tax season with LifeLock. Save up to 25% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com.
Do you need air conditioning service and need to find a local well-trained expert you can trust, like Family Heating and Air Conditioning? Find that American Standard Air dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
If you have breathing triangle issues like compromised nasal breathing and sleep, snoring, or even sleep apnea issues, a call to Advent makes sense. Because breathing well will help you live better.
Find the path to recovery that works for you. Learn more at cdc.gov/stopoverdose.
Tony Katz.
It's Kendall and Casey. The Amber and Nigel show.
All right, when does your show start? Do we know? I feel like I've been promoting this for 9 years now.
This is the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93 WIBC.
Hey, welcome to the Tony Kinnett Cast here on 93 WIBC. That's 93.1 FM out of Indianapolis. The live streams on WIBC's Twitter, X, and YouTube pages, and the podcasts everywhere else. Now, I was going to kick off the show this evening with an EAS alert alarm. So if you guys don't know the term EAS, it's the emergency alert system. It's usually that sound you hear that's announcing some kind of a severe weather alert, because politically in the United States, the Democrats have resorted to slapping that alarm as hard as they can and are now resorting to tactics that are, even by the best of estimates from the most generous of pundits and analysts, really, really bad ideas. I, however, decided not to play that, number one, because I'm not entirely sure that you can actually play the emergency alert system sounds on the air without getting in trouble. And number two, there is severe weather moving through central Indiana this evening. So if the show gets interrupted, that's not me. It's a severe weather alert because of the severe thunderstorms moving through the state. And we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show, because there's really quite a point of pride when it comes to Midwesterners and how we handle storms. But a storm that's not being handled well, because you guys know me, segues are just the best thing. Democrats have reached a low point that is so insane regarding political polling. They are now resorting to the worst voting bloc that you can resort to. So according to Gallup polls, which are now coming out really in full form as Gallup finishes its end of quarter one polling in this first part of the election year, Americans are not leaning at all in favor of the Democrats, much less a presidential election for President Biden. So black support among Democrats has fallen to 66%, which is the lowest point it has been in a very, very, very long time, at least since the 2000s. It was above 75% in favor of Democrats. Hispanic voters are now only 47% supporting the Democrats. 35% of 35% of Hispanics that answered this poll are in support of Republicans. And the demographics regarding Asians and white Americans are also not looking good. So if Donald Trump beat Hillary Clinton when he was not polling super duper well with the coalition vote that elected Barack Obama, what do you think's going to happen if President Biden is starting to lose extremely significant ground to these particular voting groups? The answer is he's only going to turn one other place that he can, and that's the youth vote. And President Biden is going all in now on the youth vote. And it is probably one of the cringiest, most awkward things ever. There's a classic meme. It's from 30 Rock, and it's Steve Buscemi trying to talk to kids. This is what it reminds me of.
How do you do, fellow kids?
What?
That's exactly what this administration is trying to do. So there's a few ways that they're trying to do it. You have Senate Democrats and what some Democrats are desperately trying to do. In portions of the country where the black and Hispanic vote is heavily relied upon in order to shift the electorate in swing states to President Biden, which are places like Michigan and Minnesota, Democrats aren't even trying at this point to rescue and save the Black and Hispanic voters in those areas. Because what Biden has done to the economies in those regions, and also how those regions have suffered from relocation from illegal immigration, is just unconscionable for those voters to even be preached to at this point. So Biden and the Senate Democrats are now going full in favor of the radical fundamentalist factions of the Muslim immigrant populations there and the Gen Z voters, who are by and large excessively in support of Hamas and Palestine in the war against Israel. So Senator Schumer got really weird today and on the Senate floor decided to fully endorse election interference. Here's what that looked like.
The fourth major obstacle to peace is Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. As a lifelong supporter of Israel, it has become clear to me the Netanyahu coalition no longer fits the needs of Israel after October 7th. The world has changed radically since then, and the Israeli people are being stifled right now by a governing vision that is stuck in the past. 5 months into this conflict, it is clear that Israelis need to take stock of the situation and ask, must we change course? At this critical juncture, I believe a new election is the only way to allow for a healthy and open decision-making process about the future of Israel.
By the way, Schumer and the other Democrats have lambasted Republicans for suggesting that Zelensky of Ukraine is bad for suspending elections at this present time and also jailing political opponents. But apparently calling for an election of Netanyahu. By the way, Netanyahu's support in Israel is like over 80%. They have a wartime coalition government in which the far left parties of Israel and the center left and right parties of Israel are governing together. Benny Gantz, who is a center left Israeli, were he to take the seat if Netanyahu stepped down, would still continue the war in Gaza. The only reason the Democrats are pulling this line right now is because the majority of Gen Z supports Hamas, and they are blitheringly desperate to win that vote. This is why you've seen very awkward moments among Democrats in the media over the last couple of months, because they don't quite know whether to condemn Ilhan Omar and Pramila Jayapal when they openly support the rape and slaughter of not just Jews, but individuals of every kind of faith and ethnicity during the Hamas rape of over 1,200 Israeli civilians, the capture of hostages from several countries, including the United States. And yet all of a sudden, when Israel has Hamas cornered, the youths don't like that. They're very pro-Hamas, very pro-Palestine, according to that Gen Z set of polls and information. And so Schumer is out here openly suggesting that Israel needs to change its wartime cabinet. And by the way, that wartime cabinet enjoys an extremely high polling support group in Israel, including the left-leaning members of the Israeli citizenry. So, no? Also, this is the same guy who got on the Senate floor and criticized everyone on the right side of the aisle, not for doing anything at all, but just because he made these wild claims a couple of years ago that China and Russia were desperately trying to get Republicans elected, and that's election interference for someone from the Russian government to say they want someone elected. That's Russian election interference, which, by the way, Putin has said that he wants Biden to win this next election. A lot of crickets since then. But I guess it's okay for the left to engage in election interference whenever it's appropriate for them. Absolutely good luck. Best of luck to you. Gen Z does not come out to vote. Millennials did not come out to vote. It ain't happening. It just isn't. I'm not seeing the youth coalition coming out to vote. TikTok is literally at the point of badgering every person using their app to call their congressman. And estimates show that probably only maybe 10% of Generation Z actually followed through with that. But you're going to get them to vote? Okay. Well, President Biden's going on a different side of Generation Z. He's going all in on the trans issue. So there is an individual named Nex Benedict who, in an Oklahoma bathroom, got into a fight. Now, there's no information there. There was this huge media narrative that the student was jumped because they were trans, and it was a big fight, and it was this big bullying thing. Further investigation ruled that was absolute garbage. And then later on, that trans student died. And everyone started screaming immediately. They said, this is because of libs of TikTok, and it's because of Republicans, and it's so evil and terrible. Oh, it's awful. And actually, the autopsy has shown that Nex committed suicide because the suicide rate in the transgender community is 40% because they are openly living with a mental disability, which is being called normal. And it turns out when you openly live with and lean into mental instability, when you lean into a mental illness, bad things happen. So President Biden comes out in front of the nation and doesn't issue an open letter and a statement with this like beautiful graphic about individuals like Laken Riley who were killed by illegal immigrants. He does stop absolutely everything and issues a statement on this next Benedict trans person talking about how transgender people and non-binary people are some of the bravest Americans I know. And he, clearly pandering to the youths. And it's just not working. And that's what we're going to talk about next, because Democrats have really thrown their eggs into the wrong basket, and the comeuppance is going to last a lot longer than this presidential election. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Tony Kinnett Cast here on 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel.
Joe Biden speaks gibberish. Joe Biden has a hard time walking. He can't find his way off of a stage. Don't give me this crap that Joe Biden's cognitively all there and way superior to Donald Trump in that category. This stapler that we've got in the studio is completely more qualified to be running this country right now than Joe Biden.
Hammer and Nigel, weekdays 3 till 7 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Tony Katz here, and if you know me, you know I like my bourbon, and just like you, I like a good deal. So let me tell you about Hotel Tango Bourbon. Hotel Tango is a distillery right here in Indianapolis, started by Travis Barnes, a Marine who served 3 tours in Iraq. He wanted to craft spirits with the same discipline he learned in the Marine Corps. That's what Hotel Tango does. I've tried his bourbon. It's wonderful. It's a 4-grain bourbon with a distinct mash bill. You get a little caramel and some of that aroma. You get a nice rye kick to balance it out. I'm not the only one who thinks it's good. Wine Enthusiast gave it a 94, and it won a gold at the San Francisco Spirits Competition. It's also under $40. Did I mention that? One of the 10 best bourbons under $40, according to Wine Enthusiast. Try it for yourself. Head down to wherever you buy fine spirits and try Hotel Tango for yourself. You'll be supporting local, supporting veterans, and getting yourself a great, sippable, enjoyable bourbon at a great price. Thanks to Hotel Tango for sponsoring the show. Hotel Tango, distilled with discipline. HotelTangoDistillery.com.
Come on, Indy. Don't use the spring to paint your house year after year. Do what Deanna did. She called Rhino Shield.
I was noticing some cracks and the paint's faded. I was like, okay, I think I should get my house painted. So my neighbor had a Rhino Shield placard in the yard. And after they were finished, I was just, wow. With the warranty and everything, it just seemed silly not to go that route.
The ceramic coating of Rhino Shield is specifically formulated for our climate.
So the Rhino Shield crew came out. Nothing was damaged in the process. I was very happy. They just didn't leave a mess. You couldn't even tell they were there. And the house looked so different. It just looked like a new home.
Backed by a 25-year transferable warranty. And now get the protection of Rhino Shield for 15% off the regular price.
Rhino Shield, I think it increases the value and the curb appeal of your home. Definitely worth it.
Here's Rhino Shield's Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino!
Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield. Did you know if you have water, storm, or fire damage, the first step is on you? Yikes. It's your responsibility to mitigate damages. Mitigate? Yeah, that's a fancy word for call Michaelis. They'll take it from there, from boarding up, cleaning up, and fixing up, to getting you squared up with your insurance company, which is a whole other mess you can avoid. Make it Michaelis. Call 844-FIX-INDY.
Cancer's worst gets our best. Franciscan Health is a national leader in treating colorectal cancer, achieving the highest standards in cancer care. With accredited programs, board-certified oncologists, and fellowship-trained colorectal surgeons, Franciscan Health is focused on your future, offering the most advanced treatments and latest clinical trials that are no match for colorectal cancer. Meet colorectal cancer's toughest opponent at franciscanhealth.org/colon-cancer care. That's franciscanhealth.org/colon-cancer care.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Your home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac automatic standby generator for your home from Generator Supercenter, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter. Call 317-827-0808. Generator Supercenter of Indianapolis, 317-827-0808.
Technology Recyclers is Indiana's best choice for computer and electronics recycling. A Hoosier veteran-owned company, Technology Recyclers is R2, Rios, and NAID certified, 100% landfill-free, and always guaretees complete data destruction. And you can expect free business pickups anywhere in Indiana at tech-recyclers.com or call 1-800-237-3887. Technology Recyclers, the official sponsors of tomorrow. That's tech-recyclers.com for a stress-free experience in recycling.
The Tony Kinnett Cast on 93 WIBC.
Welcome back to the Tony Kinnett Cast here on 93 WIBC. So, as we just talked about, President Biden and the Democrats are losing their minds because they're not popular with anybody. So they're trying to win the youths as hard as they can. The idea that if they can just pull out as many youths as were kind of like vaguely excited about Obama, that they can somehow convince to vote for old Grandpa Joe, then they'll somehow come out on top. And there will be this huge wave of the youth vote. We're promised every single election. They're going to run to the polls with their yogurt they drink out of a tube and their hip new music, and they're going to vote for the Democrats. And it ain't happening, because that just isn't how it works. People who are young are not that concerned with actually going and casting a vote. The majority of the youths on both the left and the right side of the aisle don't trust the system, don't think their votes are going to do any good, and find the entire process absolutely annoying. It's not going to shift any elections for you, but best of luck. The other reason they're not going to win the Gen Z vote, though, is because they can't do it right. And the reason they can't do it right is because they've put their eggs in the wrong basket, sure, but they're not even putting their eggs in the wrong basket correctly. Like, if I'm going to put all of my eggs into one basket, you can guarantee that I am going to do every single thing I can to not spill any of the eggs. I'm going to walk really carefully. I'm going to pay attention to where I'm going. I'm not going to set that basket of eggs down on an unsturdy table. The Biden administration's incapable of doing this. Case in point, Donald Trump came out in support of not divesting TikTok. So I have not talked extensively about the TikTok drama because I find it incredibly stupid. Now, I didn't say that I find the debate incredibly stupid. I didn't say that I found the ban incredibly stupid either. TikTok absolutely should be banned. It is owned by ByteDance, a Chinese company. For any of you who know at all how the Chinese Communist Party works, as Joy Pullman from The Federalist explained in a very detailed fashion here on the show, any business in China that operates outside of China's borders must be directly associated with and controlled by the Chinese Communist Party, which means that ByteDance, which owns TikTok, is run by the Chinese government. And I could go into lots of detail with you about how seriously the current administration actually takes TikTok. And individuals who come to Congress and after they leave the room, there's like actual bug sweepings because TikTok has been caught feeding your data to China. There's the algorithmic difference, of course, between TikTok in China is all about encouraging civic responsibility, where in America, it's about encouraging LGBTQ nonsense and systemic racism and all of this other stuff that's infested the younger generations, which is causing a lot of social fabric dissolving. And that's really what I want to talk about here, because President Trump went out and basically said that, for honestly a very dumb reason, that Facebook is the reason that he supports TikTok, not the donation that he just received from one of the individuals associated with it. But aside from that, Donald Trump comes out in support of TikTok. And Biden, seeing an opportunity, goes behind Trump, and in an effort to say he's stronger on China than Trump is, Biden told the camera that when the bill requiring ByteDance to sell TikTok, aka TikTok no longer being controlled by the Chinese Communist Party, if that comes to his desk, he'll sign it. And therefore, President Biden has just told Generation Z, who desperately loves TikTok, that he is willing to get rid of it. And that is a perfect picture of how the Biden administration routinely treats Generation Z. That's the best part. See, he's thrown his entire re-election strategy behind the youths, yet he actually hasn't followed through on any of his promises to the progressive youths. He promised he was going to cancel all their student loans. That didn't happen. He promised he was going to give them money forever. That didn't happen. He promised he was going to lower these kind of rates. That didn't happen. He promised he was going to do all this green environmentalist stuff. That didn't happen. And now here's the president of the United States, who went out and originally said it's so important that the youths get out there and associate with the things that matter to them most, which with a lot of Generation Z and the progressive left are things like BLM and a lot of weird systemic racial nonsense, as well as LGBTQ plus goofiness. And the president of the United States said, oh, we're all in support of that. And then he immediately stabs himself in the back, which is, impressive at his age, by admitting that he's going to get rid of it. So why is the eggs in the wrong basket thing still being tried so desperately? And why is it failing so epically? It's being tried so desperately because there are individuals on the left who this is all they care about. It has become their religion to be oppressed, because being oppressed in some way, shape, or form gives an individual status. And that's true on both the left and the right, by the way. But individuals on the left are aching for some reason to say that their life is not the way they want it, so therefore it must be someone else's fault. And you see this with the Black Lives Matter group. There's an Advil commercial that just came out in which Advil, the pain medication company, has done a group study about how apparently black people experience discrimination when they get headaches differently than white people do. Here, just take a look at this commercial.
I should not have to beg my doctor to run tests or ask them to take another look.
Oh, it's so uplifting. They had this group sit down and talk about what it meant to be black and to get headaches.
Welcome
and why
to Believe
it's
My
different.
Pain, a discussion about systemic pain bias in healthcare. I want to thank all of you for joining me today as we talk about this very important issue. I also want to thank the Pain Equity Project developed by Advil in partnership with the Morehouse School of Medicine and Black Health for inviting
The Pain Equity Project. Have you, I'm just out there, and feel free to correct me, is there any time in history in which someone said, my head kind of hurts, and someone looked back at him and said, well, you only say that because you're black? Has anyone ever said that ever? Like ever? Has that ever been a thing? I can't even possibly begin to think of a time when someone was like, I could really use some Advil. And they're like, well, you only want Advil because you're black. No one's ever said that. Ever. There's no systemic pain, equity, nonsense. Get out of here. Stupidest nonsense. No wonder people are exhausted of this garbage. The second thing is beyond the racial silliness that everything has to be the fault of the mysterious white man that's out there, like lurking behind every door is like the boogeyman, is the LGBTQ thing. So according to the Gallup polls we were talking about earlier, 30% of the women in Generation Z now identify as LGBTQ. So 30% of an entire generation in one sex believes that they are a different gender or sexual orientation. That is in no way, shape, or form natural, even a little. The whole born this way thing, I'm sorry. That is not how statistics work. You do not have that kind of disparity in the human gender fluidity, whatever. And by the way, that kind of encouragement comes from social interactions and believing that oppression gives you some kind of status. And we started to see a lot of this in books like Gender Queer, which is a very overtly pornographic book, which has been given to children in public schools. And then even after showing these images around the country, the left has now resorted to saying, oh, genderqueer is not actually taught anywhere. It's just a book that may be in the library somewhere. Well, according to my friend Daniel Buck over at Fordham Institute, he has discovered a training program by the National Council of Teachers of English, in which it instructs teachers how to teach genderqueer, in which a child is illustrated giving oral sex to an old Greek man. You got to teach that to your students, so there's an entire guide on that. And there's a whole other list of nonsense, but the point of the matter is, it's so exhausting. People ask why this is the wrong basket to put your eggs in, because no one actually genuinely has any kind of systemic inequities in the United States. Get out of here. It ain't true. I'm sorry. There is no situation in which you are super duper extra oppressed because you woke up this morning and decided that you're actually a non-binary goose from Tahiti. I'm sorry. We'll get over it together, one step at a time. Up next, we're going to be talking with Jerry Lopez and some awful tweets. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Tony Kinnett Cast here on 93 WIBC.
It's official. The Social Security Trust Fund is scheduled to run out of money in less than 10 years. This is dramatically changing the way many people are filing for their benefits. It's Terry Stacy. Learn how you could wring every nickel out of your benefits with a free Social Security analysis from Bill Demery, your retirement guy in Indy. I've known Bill Demery for years. He's helped me with planning for retirement, and trust me, he knows Social Security like the back of his hand. Most advisors charge hundreds of dollars for a customized analysis, but Bill doesn't charge you a dime. If you've saved more than $200,000 and have not filed for Social Security, schedule your free analysis by calling 317-349-5212. That's 317-349-5212. 317-349-5212. 5212. Call Bill right now.
And won't open or stay open, then it's time to call the pros at Window Nation. Right now, for every 2 windows you buy, you'll get 2 windows free. There's no limit to how much you could save. Plus, you could save even more with 0 down, 0 interest, and 0 payments. 1 day or less.
With proven quality service, it's no wonder thousands of homeowners have trusted Window Nation for their homes, and you can too. If your old windows and high energy costs from this past winter are cutting deep into your finances, don't miss out. With this unlimited deal, buy 2, get 2 free, plus 0 down, 0 interest, and no payments for 24 months. You can't afford to wait. 866-90-NATION or go to windownation.com. Schedule your free in-home estimate.
That moment when you realize your furnace is stone cold busted. We're talking a real put on every sweater you own, I can't feel my feet, penguin predicament. But fear not, there's an expert for that.
Let your local experts at Broad Ripple Service Experts keep you worry-free with the Advantage program for 1 low monthly payment.
Like it toasty? There's an expert for that.
Call Broad Ripple Service Experts at 866-EXPERTS. See website for license details.
Dents happen. There's a whole lot of stuff that can mess up the look of your vehicle. Don't paint your car. Go PDR with Kill a Dent Removal. PDR is paintless dent removal that saves your factory finish and is way less invasive than traditional body shop repairs. And it's faster too, sometimes same day. Google Kill a Dent Removal and check out the reviews and photos. Then schedule your repair. Hail baseballs, kids, fender benders, shopping carts, flying cows, angry X's, and anything else that leaves dents. Don't paint your car. Go PDR with Kill a Dent Removal.
This is a severe weather alert from the Chapman Heating and Air Conditioning Storm Desk.
Good evening, John Herrick with you, the news director at WIBC, letting you know about some weather activity going on. It's been a very active weather day, as many of you know. Right now we got a tornado warning, including Muncie, Yorktown, and Albany and Delaware County. That is going on until 7:45 tonight, so another 11 minutes for that. The radar indicating tornadic activity. There is 2-inch size hail possible with this. And also, this encompasses an area of about 100,000 people, 33 schools in the area to go along with 3 hospitals. So if you are in Delaware County, especially areas like Muncie, Yorktown, or Albany, you need to take shelter immediately, especially if you have a storm shelter. You're advised to get to there as quickly as possible. Also, a severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Boone and Hamilton County. That includes Carmel until 7:45. So, for again, about another 11 minutes or so for that. The hazards for that storm system include ping pong ball-sized hail and 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. We've also been getting reports from people in central Indiana and a little bit outside central Indiana that have had hail as big as tennis ball-sized hail or hail as big as baseball size. So you're definitely going to want to watch out for that. So that tornado warning for Delaware County until 7:45. Severe thunderstorm warning also in effect for places like Elwood, Tipton, and Atlanta, Indiana until 8 o'clock tonight. Wind gusts that up to about 60 miles an hour with that severe thunderstorm system. Quarter-size hail possible with that one, and that encompasses an area of about 19,584 people with 8 schools and 2 hospitals in the area. So severe thunderstorm warning for those areas until 8 o'clock tonight. So if you are in any of the areas I just mentioned, shelter. You're going to need to seek shelter immediately, get away from windows, get to a low point in your house, and make sure, or apartment, condo, wherever you are, and make sure that you are away from anything that can result in debris crashing into you. That is what the Weather Service advises that you do here. There's 2 areas of severe storms occurring across Indiana this evening. All modes of severe weather continue to be possible with these storms. So be sure to stay with us all evening long right here on 93 WIBC. Of course, IU basketball coming up in 24 minutes as they get ready to play Penn State in the Big Ten tournament. If we do have severe weather, we'll have to break in with that we'll let you know about. But we'll do the best we can to make sure that you get the game on the air and you listen to that, but also to keep you up to date on the weather too. So yet again, the big thing, though, is the tornado warning in Delaware County for places like Muncie, Yorktown, and Albany. That is going on until 7:45. Watch out for hail. You also need to watch out for high wind gusts. 2-inch size hail also possible to go along with the high winds in an area affecting about 100,000 people. So keep it locked here on WIBC. We'll keep you up to date on all the severe storms happening on this Thursday evening.
You're just minutes away from another severe weather update. Brought to you by Chapman Heating and Air Conditioning.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Hey, it's Rob. Right now, schedule your free in-home estimate, and for every 2 windows you buy, get the next 2 free. Plus, free upgrade to triple pane glass, and they'll double your energy tax credit. Restrictions apply. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
Tune in to the Absolute Retirement Planning Show.
When retirement comes about, we're now relying on what we have saved to meet those needs.
Sundays at 9 a.m. right here on 93 WIBC.
Tune in Saturdays 9 to 1 for the Home and Garden Show for advice and fun, brought to you by Michaelis. Water, storms, fire, and wet basements. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it.
No Kid Hungry is providing healthy meals and hope to hungry kids so they can build better futures. Learn more at helpnokidhungry.org. Indy's leader in patio installation is now offering a new driveway package. Schedule a free estimate today at indydecorativeconcrete.com. That's indydecorativeconcrete.com.
Awful tweets, the ones that no one ever deletes. Awful tweets on the Tony Kinnett Show.
On 93 WIBC.
Hey, good evening and welcome to Awful Tweets with Jerry Lopez. Kind of a different setup today just because, again, the severe weather alerts. Obviously, if those cut in, we'll have to take a moment. In kind of a weird situation regarding all of that. Stay safe out there in central Indiana. Jerry, we don't have a ton of time, so we're going to have to hop in. Are you out there, my man?
This much, man. The house is rattling. It's coming down out here.
Well, good. Well, we'll try to make sure we get as much of that rattling on air. Your connection sounds pretty good, though. So our first tweet this fine Thursday comes from Aaron Reed, who is a dude, looks like a lady, but actually a dude. And he calls himself an independent LGBTQ plus journalist and a mom. No. But this is also the person who got mad at me and for allowing Attorney General Rakita on the air. So, as you know, in Utah, it is now no longer allowed for dudes to go into girls' bathrooms. So here's what he tweeted. I really wanted your reaction to this one. So the first thing I did after landing in Salt Lake City, Utah, was to use the bathroom. Anti-trans laws are not going to enforce themselves, and unjust laws do not deserve compliance. What do you think about that?
I mean, I agree completely. The laws are not going to enforce themselves, and since we have somebody admitting to breaking the law, there needs to be repercussions for this. But you can also go to the restroom and not tell people. Like, both things can be true.
That is true. And I got to say, I really do wish that there was some kind of a father of a girl outside who would react to that properly. If you're a dude, don't go into the restroom, you pervert. I don't care how much you think you're a girl. It's disgusting.
Yeah, as a dad of 4 daughters, I wish you would.
So, speaking of wish you would, Dylan Mulvaney says that he tried to fix the Bud Light boycott by pitching an ad where a cowboy and a trans person share a beer. Tell me, Jerry, is this doing it for you? Would that have fixed Bud Light for you?
That would have not fixed it for me either. But it's that little judgmental thing that cowboys can't be trans. So maybe Mulvaney needs to do a little bit of apologizing here.
Hey, if cowboys can star in Brokeback Mountain, then they can be trans. That affirmatives and inclusions and all the other stuff there. We're going to skip a little bit down here. This is from an individual who's very intelligent named Joey Manarino, who said they're not voting to ban TikTok. They're voting to ban Rumble and X. They are just saying TikTok so Republicans will go along with it. Read the text of the bill. So tell me, Jerry, first of all, do you know what countries own Rumble and Twitter? Where are those companies based?
Off the top of my head, I think that those companies are now based in the U.S.
They are based in the United States. Do you know how long they've been based in the United States?
I know, but wasn't Twitter owned a lot by the Saudis, and that's kind of who Elon bought out? I think Rumble from its inception, right? But I think that Twitter's become a U.S. company in the past couple of years.
Well, Twitter was a public company that was listed on the New York Stock Exchange, so still listed in the United States. But even then, the bill says adversarial nations to the United States. So I do absolutely love the conspiracy theories. By the way, these are the same people who told you that Taylor Swift was a psyop from the government. Now all of a sudden they want to tell you that banning the Communist Chinese Party from manipulating the children, that's an infringement on free speech. All right. This is relating to what we just talked about a little bit earlier regarding President Biden's brave announcement regarding the trans suicide in Oklahoma. Ari Drennan says, every trans suicide is a murder. Remember Nex Benedict. Did you know that? Did you know every trans suicide is a murder?
I mean, technically, isn't every suicide a murder of yourself? But this seems like a way that this person is trying to blame others for somebody's actions.
I don't want to mince words here. Any suicide is a tragedy. Any suicide at all at any point is a tragedy. And especially transgender suicides. Absolutely. Every suicide in a trans situation is in definite part due to a mental illness that was not taken care of properly. Suicide ideation goes up the instant a person starts having transgender thoughts and takes part in it. So, no, it's not murder, though. It's not Chaya Raishik for calling out transgender nonsense in classrooms at the fault. Well, a lot of people are at fault. According to NBC News, Elon Musk and right-wing influencers use claims of cannibalism to smear Haitian migrants amid the crisis. What do you think about that one?
Isn't his nickname Barbecue?
Do you know why his nickname is Barbecue? As he himself has said, he burns victims alive in their house and then eats their remains. We have videos of cannibals right now in Haiti.
Self-described cannibal.
It's like Hamas. They brag about it and it's like, no, they're not actually doing that. Okay. Well, this next one is from a local favorite. This is from Jefferson Shreve, who ran for Indianapolis mayor, and now he's running for Congress, actually in my district, the 6th district. And he sent out a little presser, And he says that liberals in Indianapolis said I was too conservative. They attacked me for supporting the Second Amendment. They even attacked me for being pro-life. And I'm going to stop it right there. Tell me, Jerry, why were a lot of conservatives not a fan of Jefferson Shreve?
Because he can. So after he beat Abdul in the primary, he immediately adopted the Hogsett gun stance.
Yeah, he said he wanted to ban assault weapons in Indianapolis, and he wanted to ban unlicensed carry.
The reason Hammer completely hated him was he was not a champion of 2A at all.
And not only that, but he also said that he would order the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department not to investigate cases in which Indiana's laws regarding pro-life were violated. So literally the two things he listed, I was too conservative. You were the most liberal candidate on the ballot in Indiana in that election.
Yeah.
Well, we have to end on a real home run here. This is from Representative Pramila Jayapal. And remember, she was trying to grill Robert Hur in the special investigation and on the House committee floor because she says that he exonerated President Biden. And then Hur cut her off and said, no, I didn't exonerate him at all. He violated the law. And then she said, I reclaim my time. Well, after being roasted by absolutely everyone on earth, this is what she took to Twitter to say. Exonerate, verb, exonerate. Definition, to clear from accusation or blame. Example, Robert Hur exonerated President Biden with his 345-page report and testimony before Congress. Is that what happened, Jerry?
Yeah.
Did Hur exonerate Biden?
Didn't they come out literally and say that any court would feel bad for this feeble old man? Yes, he did it, but nobody's going to convict this old senile man.
That's exactly what happened.
That's what it said.
He said he
didn't do it. It just said people would feel sorry that he's so senile.
Exactly. He kept the documents. For those on the live stream, it looks like we are being caught by a severe weather alert. Jerry, looks like we're being cut a little bit short on the air. Tell you what, we will have to dig into this a little bit later. Thanks so much for hopping on, man.
Definitely. Thanks for having me, Tony.
This is the Tony Kinnett Cast here on 93 WIBC. We'll try to be back in just a moment.
You let him try violin because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
This is the most exciting time of the year, and we want you to go all the way, even if your team doesn't. March on, Indiana, in a Hubler quality pre-owned vehicle. Shop any of Hubler's 12 locations and choose from over 1,000 vehicles. Chevys, Fords, GMCs, Buicks, Nissans, Acuras, Mazdas, Hondas, and many more. All makes, all models, certified vehicles, luxury vehicles, even the hard-to-find ones. Every Hubler Q certified vehicle is covered by a 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty, plus a 128-point vehicle inspection and a free Carfax history report. Hubler's got you covered for 100,000 miles. Busted brackets not included. So what drives Indiana? DriveHubler.com. For over 1,000 vehicles, visit any of our 12 locations.
Hubler's got you covered.
Warranty on select models less than 9 years old.
Your nose is for breathing. Your mouth is for eating. And if you're breathing through your mouth, it's not because your body wants to. It's because it has to, because your nose isn't working properly. And although you've lived like this, it's no way to live, and it's having a significant impact on your life. I know you know this, and I know that taking action isn't always convenient. But at Advent, we've done all we can to make changing your life for the better as easy as possible. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula. With tens of thousands of our patients, a thorough breathing triangle evaluation, along with a simple 20-minute in-office procedure called balloon sinuplasty, has opened their nasal passages, allowing them to breathe freely through their nose for good. And there's a good chance this procedure can do the same for you. We'll help you breathe through your nose again, and it will change your life.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Results may vary.
To thank you for 40 unforgettable years, Dell Technologies is celebrating with anniversary savings on their most popular tech. For a limited time only, save on select next-gen PCs like the XPS 13 Plus, powered by Intel Core processors, and more. Plus, curate your dream setup with great deals on select monitors, mice, and more must-have electronics and accessories. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to leading-edge technology and free shipping on everything. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
For a job done right, the first time and every time, remember Chapman Heating. For all your plumbing, air conditioning, heating, and now drain needs, remember the man for all seasons, ChapmanHeating.com.
Reach your fitness goals in 2024 with the 20-minute once-a-week program at Exercise Inc. 5 locations now in Fishers. Visit exerciseinc.com.
There are screening tests to catch cancer early. Visit cancer.org/getscreened.
90% of suicide attempts involving a gun are fatal. Be a responsible gun owner. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide. Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed. Oh, yeah? Yeah, he's starting with the woots. Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
It's the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93 WIBC.
Hey, welcome back to the Tony Kinnett Cast here on 93 WIBC. It's been a little bit of a weird episode, I know. Obviously, I know for those that are watching the stream or those that might be listening to the podcast episode later, it could be a little bit jarring, but my first and foremost priority is making sure that those listening in on the radio on 93.1 FM out of Indianapolis are safe and that they are served on a radio station in the way that a radio station should serve its listeners. And that means making sure that emergency alerts are distributed at the best manner, at the fastest manner. So thank you very much to John Herrick and the WIBC news desk and storm desk for keeping that on track. Following at the end this evening are a few other quick points to kind of hash over. And then tomorrow evening, we'll actually be airing an interview with gubernatorial candidate for the Republicans, Jamie Rittenauer. And many of you will remember, at least in some of my comments before, that I have not really been the hugest fan of Jamie Rittenauer's campaign, especially after watching her performance in the straw poll in Henry County. However, there have been some interesting kind of conversations behind the scenes in getting her on the air, and we'll be playing that for you guys tomorrow. So hopefully that will make up for what's been kind of a quirky episode, at least time-wise. Well, perhaps rather on point. We try to map out these segments a little bit more in advance, at least for the more fun ones. I wanted to brag on how much I love Midwesterners and Indiana people in general for how they handle storms. Because there are a lot of places around the country that deal with a lot of very crazy natural phenomenon. And understandably, all kinds of natural disasters cause a severe amount of damage. There's a lot of fear that goes into them, very justifiably so. And there isn't exactly a lot of places around the world in which people take a look at really damaging incidents regarding natural disasters and kind of take pride in how they handle them. Not so in the Midwest, especially here in Indiana. I've never seen a place that is almost excited when storms and severe weather come through. Not just because of the classic Midwestern trope in which you are obligated to stand out on your porch and put your hands on your hip like a man surveying a freshly mowed lawn and watch the storm roll through. That is the right of every Hoosier by birth, and that is fantastic. Just make sure you do so safely. You don't want to get hurt by one of those ping pong ball sized pieces of hail while you're standing out on your porch. Because, not everyone can afford the covered porch kind of a thing. And, sometimes hail comes in sideways. But the other thing that I really love about watching Hoosiers surrounding natural disaster-style storm events is how quickly individuals from communities will rush to the smallest out-of-nowhere places that get devastated by tornadoes in order to help people in that town rebuild, in order to help them get the things that they need. The country made a really big deal about after the hurricane that hit Florida, about individuals from all over the country going down, all of these volunteer linemen getting bridges rebuilt, telephone lines back up in a matter of just a couple of days. And in talking to a couple of people from Indiana at the time, a lot of the individuals that I spoke to were not surprised. They were almost seemed more surprised that this was being covered as such a Herculean effort on national media, that how impressive it was that everyone was dropping everything to go down there. When I remember when I was in school and Arcadia was hit with a pretty severe tornado, that a lot of individuals from the surrounding areas just dropped everything the next day and went in and tried to help clean things up and find and make sure everyone was safe and sound. There's a real sense of Hoosier pride that comes from that. I know that in the modern climate, it's not very common to see something that a large group of people in an area agree on, from the blue to the red, from the inner city out to the deep rural. And I feel like in the state of Indiana, it is something that is still consistently on the docket, that when a severe piece of weather hits, the communities actually do the right kind of things. I don't see people in the middle of a storm trying to muscle each other off the road. I have seen that in Worcester, Massachusetts, outside of Boston. I've seen that in Texas. I've seen that in Wisconsin. I don't see that in Indiana. There's a kind of courtesy that comes over all Hoosiers. The Spotter Network via shortwave radio is more active in Indiana than most other states in the Midwest. We have a phenomenal spotter network. I turn on shortwave radio and just listen to it from time to time because it's really cool to hear just average individual Hoosiers fresh off of work for the day, or even coming home from work prematurely because there's a large thunderstorm, to keep track of it and report data to the National Weather Service. I think that's neat. And look, it may not, maybe it is interesting radio, maybe it's not. I honestly don't know. But I did want to take a moment to talk about how impressed I am with how Hoosiers handle severe weather of this nature. Because rest assured, if there is something that really does cause a lot of damage, and I certainly hope and pray not, as the storms currently rage through Delaware County with confirmed tornado warnings, but possible touchdowns may be in sight before the evening is out, I can rest assured that a lot of Hoosiers that I know will spring to the aid of those communities afterward. Thank you very much for stopping by this evening. Stay safe, and we will see you tomorrow for another episode. This has been the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93 WIBC.
Greetings from R&R Agency, your Indiana health insurance pros.